Good morning, Prof. Jason, Prof. Michelle, and class. We are Group 9 and here to share with you on our project. Our project is about which social media platform do celebrities receive the most toxicity from. Here's the content we will cover today. Let's start on background. There are currently 3.6 billion people on social media platforms, and the number of social media users is growing rapidly. More people on these platforms also mean more toxic speech. Reading online toxic comments makes many users believe that online toxicity is pervasive, and some start to feel less safe within their community. The problem is, online users are using social media as a platform to spread toxic messages against specific communities. These toxic speeches have caused many negative psychological effects on the victims. Some of the victims develop mental struggles. The correlation between social media and mental health has captured our team's interest. So our team got to work and focused our research on US celebrities because celebrities make good targets for toxic messages. The reason for this is because their popularity makes them an effective platform to spread toxic messages. Which brings us to our research question. Which social media platform do US celebrities receive the most toxicity from? And which group of celebrities receive the most toxicity on social media? Our hypothesis is that Instagram is the most toxic social media platform. This is because it's centered around images or videos that will give social media users a lot of context to comment about. After all, pictures speak 1,000 words. We also believe that the LGBTQ community receives the most toxicity on social media. Before our team sets on to our project, we look through literature reviews on the available tools and resources that are available. I would like to highlight that there are 6 components, and all of them are toxic detection methods, people-involved analysis, and detecting societal changes. Classification methods, data and annotation, and finally, challenges. Our team looked at their accomplishment, visibility, and time spent. It helped us to know what will be interesting and feasible for us. While looking specifically into toxicity classification on social media comments, we found 6 other similar research. These are classification models used, of which Perspective API remains the most widely used classification model. Alternatively, research has found that traditional classification models works just as well, with support vector classification being the most accurate classification model. These researchers has a large focus on current events and affairs, like Brexit, COVID-19, and various news topics. On top of that, the research tends to focus only on either Twitter or YouTube comments. Hence, we find that past research to be event-centric and had limited analysis by focusing on a single social media platform. Our research hopes to go beyond that, and by selecting a diverse group of celebrities as a target group, which will encompass a wide range of possible topics and events, as well as analyzing these across 5 social media platforms for a holistic understanding of social media. Now, I will pass my time to Bradley to talk about our data sets.
Thank you, Jerkin, for the excellent introduction to our research question. I will now be talking about the data sets we collected. We have a total of 1.15 million comments from the raw data. About 2% is from Facebook, 8% from Twitter, 30% from YouTube, 40% from Instagram, and 20% from Reddit. To ensure our data collected would be as unbiased as possible, we randomly generated 12 dates using the random and datetime module and collected comments from those dates where possible. For Facebook, we collected 36,000 comments for posts from 45 celebrities, which is about 808 comments per celebrity. This dataset was collected using the FacePager app, which allows us to scrape comments from posts by a celebrity on Facebook. The relevant data we scraped included the celebrity name, message, which is the comments on the celebrity's post, time of comment, and number of likes for the comment. For Twitter, we used the names of our 50 celebrities as search queries to gauge the general attitudes of the public towards them and scrape all tweets that had their names inside using SNS Scrape, where we could specify the exact date to scrape tweets for. In total, we managed to scrape 133,000 tweets by attempting to scrape 300 comments per celebrity on a random day each month. For the whole of 2020, relevant rows included text, retweet count, reply count, and the date of the tweet for our toxicity analysis. For YouTube, we chose the top 3 videos with the highest number of views ranging from music videos to interviews for the celebrity in 2020, and scraped a total of 514,000 comments for 48 celebrities using the third version of the YouTube data API. This means that we collected 10,718 comments per celebrity on average. Relevant rows which we use for toxicity analysis included username of the user who commented, the actual comment, and time of comment. Now, Richie will share with you more about the datasets we collected for Instagram and Reddit.
Thank you, Bradley, for running us through the datasets and methodology of obtaining Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube comments. I'll be running through the remaining 2 social media platforms we are analyzing, Instagram and Reddit. For Instagram, we managed to scrape a total of 652,000 comments, making that roughly 14,000 comments of the 46 celebrities. We randomly chose 3 posts from each month in 2020 for each celebrity and scraped all the comments under those posts using Selenium. Some of the relevant data we collected include username, date time, and comments. Lastly, for Reddit, data was collected from all 50 celebrities. This was done through the Reddit API and PostShift API wrappers, PROD and PSOC. 50 posts were collected based on keyword searches of the celebrities from the 12 randomly chosen dates, and we scraped all comments from those posts. A total of 315,000 comments were collected. Some of the relevant columns we collected include timestamp and comments. To summarize the data we collected the most number of comments from Instagram. The most unique users we have collected comments from fall under Instagram as well. Additionally, YouTube has the most comments per celebrity. After collecting all comments from the respective social media platforms, we combine all data sets into data frame and then proceed to clean the data by removing or filling down values with zero, removing HTML text and URLs in comments, and keeping comments made in 2020 only. We have thus collected a total of 1,156,000 comments, a huge leap from our projected collection of 6,000 comments during our midterm presentation. I'll now pass my time to Wei Kam for our analysis.
Thank you, Richie. I will now share with you our analysis methods and findings. First question, how do emoji affect Perspective API rating? Before we label each comment using Perspective API, we need to decide whether we should keep the emojis, remove it, or replace it with its word meaning. Here is what replacing emoji from comments looks like. This smiley face emoji will be replaced by the literal word smiley face. For evaluation, we manually labeled some comments that contain emoji as our test dataset. Here is the summary of scores for each comment type. Emoji replace is a clear winner as it has the highest accuracy, recall, and F1 score. Furthermore, we plotted a ROC curve, which stands for Receiver Operator Characteristic, to show the diagnostic ability of binary classifiers. AUC, which stands for Area Under Curve, is also calculated as seen in the legend. The higher the AUC, the better the model, and emoji replace has the highest AUC. We also noted that recall is more important in our study as we want to correctly detect a toxic comment when there is one. Thus, we went ahead to replace all the emojis with its word meaning. Oh, and one more thing, we ran Perspective API on AWS EC2 with Google Colab and 5 API keys. First, we loaded the API keys into Colab, and then we launched 5 instances inside the AWS so we could compute the computation in parallel. To prevent the Colab from timing out due to inactivity, we used PyAutoGUI to simulate clicks on the screen. We did this because Perspective API has a rate limit of 1 query per second, and we needed a huge amount of computing power to label our huge dataset. Moving on to the next question, is Perspective API better at detecting toxicity than other models? To answer this question, we compare Perspective API against Vader sentiment and TextBlock. Similar to emoji evaluation, we prepared a test dataset for testing and did out a summary table. Perspective API is indeed better as it tops all 4 categories. It is also worth mentioning that all 3 models give the same ranking for toxicity percentage for each platform, despite the differences in accuracy. This is because with a large dataset, errors from these models will cancel out relative to the quantity we are interested in estimating, aggregate percentage of toxic comments. For the next question, does the length of comments affect toxicity? The answer is yes. Longer comments are associated with more toxic comments. Both the box plot and the disk plot hint that longer comments are on average more toxic. However, the clear indicator of this relationship is after we plotted a percentage of toxic comments per length graph. As you can see, most of the toxic comments are concentrated on the right side of the graph, corresponding to longer length. To determine whether the difference between the length of toxic and non-toxic comments are statistically significant, we perform a t-test at 5% significance level. Since the p-value is smaller than 0.1%, we reject the null hypothesis and conclude that there is a difference between the two sample mean. Moving on to the next question, when do toxic comments happen the most often? We plotted a moving average aggregate toxicity graph. We calculated the toxicity score for each day using the number of toxic over the number of non-toxic comments. Furthermore, to derive a more consistent signal, we smooth the graph using a moving average over a window of the past k days. From the graph, we can see that there is a big spike in July. And even after smoothing, it is clear that the spike happened that month. To understand why and what caused this increase, we did further analysis in July. We found out that Reddit has the highest percentage of toxic comments, followed closely by Twitter and Instagram. In addition, Bill Gates has the highest percentage of toxic comments in July. After further investigation, we found the exact day the spike occurred and the celebrity with the highest percentage of toxic comments on that day, which is Bill Gates. We then extracted out all the toxic comments and plotted a unigram word cloud. Here we see words like COVID and vaccines. Using Google Trends, people who search for Bill Gates on Google also search for Pfizer, Moderna, and CBS News. Thus, we can infer that most toxic comments towards Bill Gates might be because the public found out that he is pro-vaccine after CBS News posted this article. It is also worth noting that July 2020 was the month with the second highest number of COVID cases in the US. The next question we have is, do marginalized communities receive more toxic comments? From our analysis, there is no significant difference in the percentage of toxic comments between races and between sexual orientation. However, we noticed that transgender experience a higher percentage of toxic comments. Lastly, are users who comment on various celebrities more likely to post a toxic comment? To answer this question, we plotted a graph for each social media. After that, we extracted the top 10 users with the highest number of unique edges using degree centrality. These are the top 10 users for each platform, and surprisingly, these users have relatively low number of toxic comments. Using graph history, we can visualize the network of each social media. Using usernames as nodes and toxic comments as edges, we can see that Reddit, there are some standalone clusters like Lily Reinhardt. This means that all the users who posted toxic comments about Lily Reinhardt did not post any toxic comments to other celebrities. In addition, you can see that this particular user posted numerous toxic comments to Oprah, Joe Biden, Bill Gates, and Barack Obama. As for Instagram network, we can clearly see the distinction between clusters. This shows that there aren't many users who posted toxic comments to various celebrities like we see in Reddit. From this graph, we can straight away tell which two celebrities received the most toxic comments, and they are Bill Gates and Joe Biden. Now I'll pass my time to Ashlyn, who will talk about our implications and limitations.
Thank you, Wei Kiang. I will now talk about our limitations in 3 phases: our data collection, data processing, and our analysis. For data collection, we face API restrictions where Facebook limits the number of API calls FacePager can make within a given time period. This limit was reached when we tried to scrape Facebook using FacePager. Secondly, Instagram has soft blocked us from clicking more comments. Thirdly, there is an unequal distribution of data given the unavailability of comments for some celebrities, of which I will elaborate further. For Twitter, Nana Condor, Daniel Day Kim, Maya, and Alex Shibutani have as little as 5 to 8 tweets about them. For Facebook, Robert Rudenstein, Kanye West, Stephen James, Sandra Oh, Alex, and Maya Shibutani do not have public Facebook accounts. For Instagram, Taylor Swift and Tom Hanks had disabled their comments, while Stephen James and Kanye West had no comments. Lastly, Elliot Page had very little comments. For YouTube, Oprah and Rihanna had their comments disabled, while Sandra Oh, Alex Shibutani, and Kim Kardashian had very little comments. Lastly, Daniel Day Kim had no comments at all. For data processing, it was hard to clean Reddit comments as it contained a lot of bot comments which were relatively harder to clean. Now, for our analysis. We manually labeled 500 comments for our small test data set. Due to time constraints, we do not send out surveys for people to help us label the comments. Secondly, Perspective API was unable to detect slang and sarcasm. One example would be You Slay Girl being toxic. Next would be the bias against the LGBTQ community. And one example would be Gays Right for the Win being toxic. Thirdly, Twitter and YouTube were the two social media platforms which were difficult to plot a time series graph for, as the tweets collected are only on 12 dates. This limited us to only plotting a bar graph. For YouTube, some videos were posted later in the year. A time series graph of a complete year was thus infeasible. We face computational challenges when trying to calculate centrality for closeness, where we can pinpoint users who can spread toxicity efficiently. Similarly, for betweeners, we can't pinpoint users who are likely to share or retweet certain posts because we have limited computing power despite using AWS EC2. Now for our conclusion. Reddit is the most toxic platform given that it has the highest percentage of toxic comments even after removing outliers in July and Bill Gates related comments. So why Bill Gates? We identified that he has suffered the most toxicity in 2020 as he has the highest percentage of toxic comments from Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit combined. We identified that it was the transgender community which received the highest toxicity percentage compared to males, females, and the gender non-binary community. Now, for our implications. Every social media platform allows users to report toxic comments. However, after personally reporting it, we observed that the comment was still not deleted. We thus hope that our knowledge can help accurately automate the filtering of toxic comments in various social media. Moving forward, our team is keen on improving our dataset, where we explore toxicity in America instead. Next, we would also love to use our graphs to study and take action on users who constantly spread toxicity to various celebrities. Lastly, we are curious about the optimal amount of toxicity that should be present on social media. We gain a deeper understanding of toxicity towards celebrities from our research, and we hope that this study can raise awareness on the importance of social media to monitor societal changes. Thank you so much for your kind attention, and we hope that you enjoyed our research as much as we enjoyed conducting it. We are now happy to take any questions you might have.